Our next guest has been dubbed the modern-day hidden figure by People magazine and hailed as the new Einstein by her fans. We welcome to the show the author of Answers Unleashed to the Science of Attracting What You Want. Olympia LePoint is with us. Olympia, such a pleasure to talk to you.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me on your show.
Well, first of all, congratulations. I know this book is just brand new out, so that's huge. But I mean, I have to first mention to people, because we didn't say this in the intro, you are an award-winning rocket scientist. I mean, just those words that you're a rocket scientist blow my mind. But share a little bit of your background.
Oh, thank you. I helped launch 28 space shuttle missions into outer space over a close to a decade time frame, and the satellites that we launched into space actually help us use our virtual technology now, and it launched the technology that we actually use to land on Mars today. So I am thankful to have helped launch 28 space shuttles into the outer space on the space shuttle program, which retired in 2011. But now we see that the SpaceX NASA programs are now coming out. And so I talk about that as well, about the science, about successful spaceflight.
I mean, so incredibly smart. You hear about your background, though. You grew up in poverty and, you know, had struggles even in math. Talk a little bit about that as well, and your background and how you overcame what you have.
Thank you so much. I love helping people succeed, and on my website answersunleashed.com and all of my content that I put on online, I talk about my own personal story. And a lot of people don't know, although that I was an award-winning rocket scientist and did all these great things and write these books, I grew up in poverty on the borderline of South Central Los Angeles, and it was very tough growing up. And I went through psychological traumas and emotional traumas, and it was tough going through all that. I even failed algebra, calculus, and chemistry. And it wasn't until I learned that I had the ability to overcome fear, not only about how I saw myself in the future, but how I could overcome my fear of math and overcome my fear of the past. And in my latest book, Answers Unleashed 2, overcome the fear of the future so we can actually make great decisions in our lives. And I grew up, if you watch my TED Talk, I grew up in the worst situations, but it was a blessing because it allowed me to see that no matter what type of situations you're in and no matter what type of difficulties that you face, you can always find success for yourself. And it is the decision-making power that you have in order to define it and actually move towards it.
And that's what your work is all about right now, is self-help. You think that you'd be writing a book on the rocket scientist part of it. No, this is a self-help book. It talks about quantum deciding. Can you share what that theory is?
Yeah, quantum deciding is a great way that I used in my own life to make 6 important decisions for the future that I wanted. Each one of us has the power of our free will to actually make decisions. And as I look back at my life, I could have gone 3 different ways. I could have become a dropout of high school. I could have been a victim of gang violence because it was very tough where we grew up. Or I could have become a rocket scientist. We all have different futures in front of us. And I didn't realize until maybe 2019 that I was making 6 important decisions all along to pick the future that I wanted to go to, which is rocket science. Now, in quantum deciding, I talk about there's 3 versions of ourselves. The past version of ourselves that needs to overcome our fear. The future version of ourselves that we can see ourselves moving forward towards, and we can observe ourselves in the present moment where we make decisions, and those decisions that we make in the present moment allows us to connect our past and our future together so we effectively move towards the future that we want. And I bring this to us in a very easy to read, thrilling saga in this book. And I take really key depths of Albert Einstein's quantum entanglement and the space knowledge that I have, and I break it down into just very simple stories that everyone sees that how we each have these opportunities to make 6 decisions so we can navigate towards the future that we want.
Can you talk about one of those decisions? I know that we don't have too much time, but you share that there's 6, and I know those are all in the book, but just giving us one of them?
Yes, one of them is we think in 6 different ways with our intent, with our identity, with our faith, with how we learn, with our resources, and how we choose to have relationships with other people. And one way that we learn is one way that we go forward is through learning. Learning not only what is fact, but throwing out the false information and grabbing on to information that is accurate and true for us, no one else, so we can make effective decisions. So it doesn't matter what your neighbor thinks. It doesn't matter what your boss thinks. It matters what you think and how you learn for your own growth. And when we can take hold of true information and discard the fake news and actually take in what is accurate and factual, we can actually move towards making great decisions, not only in a personal level, but as society as a whole.
Olympia, you are incredible. Such an inspiration. Thank you for sharing today.
Thank you. It is my honor to be with you. Thank you.
Again, her book, Answers Unleashed 2. We'll have more information about it and Olympia on our website at KATU.com. But don't go away. More of Afternoon Live when we come back.